Perfect. This is the Brown Duke Gun Show. My name is JP Garcia. I am here today with Brandon, Elias, and Austin Menard.
Hello.
Very good. So today we are going to talk about the Arkansas section. First off, apologies to everybody who tried to tune into the live stream. We were trying to figure it out. Learning.
It didn't work?
Didn't work that great. So what happened was we had... I started streaming, right? And about 3 or 4 minutes in, both cameras froze.
I saw that. Yeah, I remember both cameras froze, but I didn't know if it was just the cameras or if it was actually live.
So
stream.
the audio worked.
Okay.
The audio worked, but the cameras froze, and you were like smiling, and I was like this. Jeez. Thanks, live stream. So anyway, so we're trying this again, and I think this is going to be something we try to do a bunch, right? So I was thinking maybe on match days, we could do maybe like just a quick live stream, 30 minutes or so on Thursdays or something like that. Make it regular. Yeah. And then what I could do is leave some camera equipment at Sentry, and maybe we use that back place where you guys had already put the recording studio.
Yep.
Because we'll do a one camera show. And, we'll leave a couple of cameras or one camera there, and then we'll leave a video switcher and stuff like that. Boom. It's there. It's out of the way, kind of small setup.
It's like a wide angle camera.
Exactly. And then we'll just have you and I, or all three of us maybe just sit there and, looking at the camera. So cool. That could be cool. We'll try that out. If you guys have any comments about that, let us know. But today, yes, we are talking about the Arkansas section. And we have a lot of cool things lined up. I actually lined up some videos. So there are 2 stages that we can take a look at today. The first, actually stage 1 that you and I shot, Brandon, that we actually shot the same plan, cool. I think. And then stage 8, you and I shot different plans, but I think they ended up, within a second of each other or something like that. So, cool. So anyway, yeah, very good. I think just a quick overview. First and foremost, I want to give a shout out, and he's going to get tired of me saying this, but Jay Glossier, thank you. Yeah. He hooked up the food.
He was the winner of the match for sure. He was definitely the winner.
Yeah. I was telling folks at the end of the match that, it doesn't matter. I mean, you won first overall clearly, but it's like the high overall winner was Jay. He came through. I've never been to a major match like that where we had literally every meal figured out.
It was because of food. That's why you won, because of food.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, thank you, Jay. It was great. And so the situation we had there in Arkansas, we had booked a place, a lodge, and the capacity was 28 people or something like that.
Yeah, it was really cool.
Yeah.
It had like all the bunk bed stuff, and then like a big shower room, or but it was like 2 different locations. Like it was like 2 hotels pretty much, and then they had like a middle ground with like all the dining room tables and a full like commercial kitchen almost.
Yeah,
like it was really cool.
Yeah. So it was. I mean, and the cool part too was everybody kind of had their own sleeping area, and then in the middle there was this huge place, where everybody could kind of just sit and hang out.
We did dry fire.
Yeah, we sure did.
Dry fire there.
We did dry fire. Andrew was playing piano.
Yep,
that was super cool. Thank you, Andrew. Thank you if you're listening. It was awesome. It was a great experience overall, and it was mostly our club guys and 2 buddies of ours. One from Chicago, one from Houston. Andrew, Robert. Thank you all for coming. It was fantastic.
Yeah, and they had I want to say 5 lodges that we passed up before we got to ours. Like the same setup. So it'd be like really cool, like a big match there. Like different groups can like have different lodges.
Yeah.
Everybody on the same compound.
So we have a couple of live viewers. We don't have volume.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah. No volume?
No volume.
Oh, weird. Okay.
I just tried it on mine too. No volume.
How do we do that? Hang on.
Technical difficulties.
Yeah, here we go. So we are going to do this. Is that unmute? How about now? Can they hear us?
Testing.
Hang on, it's going to be a little delayed on my side.
Yeah. Let's take a look at the settings. And audio. Oh.
Yep. There you go. You got it.
There we go.
Whatever
you did the first time.
Whatever you did the first time, you got it.
Audio input.
You got it.
Audio output.
It's working now.
Okay.
Yep.
Perfect.
Perfect. Thank you, John Capone, and good to hear from you, buddy. Long time no see. Thank you.
Well, I guess Austin, you can be on. You can be on questions.
That's right. I got it.
So actually, I'm gonna do this, and then hopefully that does everything. And so is the audio still coming through?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh,
perfect.
Little
Listen to
delayed,
that.
but I'll make sure.
Okay. Very cool. Look at that. That's the magic of the internet. Thank you all for, because can you imagine we go through the whole thing live streaming, nobody could hear what the hell we're saying.
So we're still learning.
Yeah, exactly.
We got our first one, cameras froze. Now we have
We had no audio. But now we got it all ironed out.
working.
Yeah.
We
absolutely.
are professionals.
So back to Arkansas section. Fantastic. Great experience. I think, takeaway is we're going to do it again.
Yeah.
Right. I'm going to try to reserve it for next year. And like you said, there are two lodges, or there are multiple lodges. So, we can have our group. If there's another group, hopefully the Houston guys that we shot with, in Florida come also. They could have their own lodge if they overflow with us. It'd be really
something
good.
that like Arkansas section in their matchbook, they should like post it, like share it.
Yeah.
So where if they have like a big group of people, they could all split it like we did.
Yeah.
Cool. Because shooters are always looking for that.
Though I kind of think it should be kind of our little secret. Like I also don't want anybody to like figure it out and then we can't ever get into it,
Yeah, get a lodge.
Yeah. So
It's really cool.
Maybe we can talk to the Airbnb folks and get first refusal.
Yeah,
Every
there you
year. Yeah. So but yeah, so that was our lodging. That was our experience. We got there Thursday. Jay took care of all the food. Brisket, fajitas, ribeye steaks. It was great. Pulled pork, yeah, and he had all of the nacho cheese, all the everything, literally everything you could think about. They had the kolaches in the morning, all of that stuff. So I'm gonna gush all year on that. So that was our experience staying lodging. Digging into the match. And so another shout out here. Shout out to David, the match director, for putting up with us for almost a year, doing, reserving a squad for us and then moving shooters in and out as people dropped and people added and all of that stuff. I know it was a pain, but we really appreciate it. We had a good time at the match. I think it was really perfect from that perspective. Registration was super easy. Had nothing, no big problems.
No, every year that we shot it, it's been the same thing. Kind of like that guy's always been very good at responding back to emails and getting whatever we need.
Yeah. So now I guess digging into the match itself. I think the match is a fast match.
Yeah.
Right.
It's a one-day match.
Yeah.
Was it 12 stages?
10 stages.
10 stages. Yeah. And usually 12 or under is not too bad to do in one day. I kind of got used to doing that with different people I shot with. They always like to shoot one days. So I do that, except for dragons. Like dragons, I will not do it in one day again.
I did it
12
once.
Stages. Yeah, I did it one time and I was like, never again, because it's just 12 technical stages all day in the heat and it's very tiring.
Yeah.
But everything else, you can kind of do it in one day.
For sure. Yeah, no. And I think, the stages were actually very, they were very achievable, especially if it was your first level 2, everybody could hit all the targets, right? There were some that you may probably had to slow down on and stuff like that. But for folks who are, more experienced, you could really get on the gas on a lot of those.
Yeah. The farthest target is maybe like 25 yards or so.
Yeah, something like that.
Like some open targets. They had one partial at maybe like 20 yards. That one that they had like partial, open, partial. That was maybe at 20 yards, 18 yards or something.
Yeah.
They had a few swingers, but all the swingers were not like crazy. They didn't have like no shoots on the swingers.
Right.
They're all L-shaped swingers, so you can hit them like on the dwell, on the side dwell. None of them were super fast or anything like that. So yeah, it was a good match.
Yeah, I think, if I had feedback on the stages, I would actually like to see a little bit more hardcover.
Yeah.
Maybe just a little bit more. I loved the fact that almost every stage had a mover.
Yeah, I like that.
Keep that up. Let's get movers on all the stages, I think, just because that's indicative of, level 3 and level 4, matches and stuff like that. Would have liked to see some hardcover. There are some places, and you and I and, some of the other guys on the squad were talking, there are places where you could add hardcover and it would have made it more interesting.
Yeah. A lot more challenging, especially like some farther targets that you got to exit on or something.
Yeah.
That way it kind of shows the skill level of different shooters. Like, can you take it that fast?
Right.
And be comfortable with exiting that position, or do you have to really like confirm the shots?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I remember that I thought, man, if this were a tux, it would actually be very, very hairy. Is that there was a stage, it was like a smaller stage, but it had a bobber, right? It just went straight up and down. And if that was a tux, okay, and it wasn't too far. It was maybe 10 yards, 10 yards or in and you had to approach it. So you could get it to where that target was 7 yards away from you. So it wasn't terribly difficult, but if it had a little bit of hardcover on it, it would make you think about it a little bit.
Yeah.
So, but other than that, it was, like I said, it was super great match for folks who had never shot a level 2 before. Very, stages were very doable, very achievable, which is good. So, I think that the one complaint that I have, it's just one of those things that happens in USPSA, the calibration, we did get smoked on one of those stages, and the 4 squads in front of us got smoked when they had to reset a popper.
Yeah.
And the popper then fell in a different way that it did for us. And to me, it gave a competitive advantage to everybody else who came after us.
Yeah. Poppers always do that. Like, steel is so challenging to get calibrated right and to keep it calibrated for the whole match, because you have so many factors that go into play. You have to make sure that it actually falls, right? And that was the issue that we were having. It was kind of set too far forward. But then, like, whenever you go to Talladega, like, there's a lot of wind that goes through that place. And that was the other issue. It's like, every time you turn around, you have to stop the stage and reset the target. So you have so many reshoots because the popper just fell down automatically by the wind.
Yeah.
So you got to play that balancing game and see how it's done. I'm sure there's got to be something better than the way usually the poppers are. They're like staked into the ground.
Yeah.
And as you start shooting them, it starts eroding the dirt underneath it, and then it starts sinking down more. So I'm sure there's like got to be somebody that can make a popper like a little bit more consistent. That way it's on level ground somehow.
Yeah, and that's an idea. You could put just one of those little leveling things and make sure that, at least you can keep it. You can, as an RO, you can tell, So if MGM or whoever added this little leveling, the bubble thing, put one of those on there. Of course, it'll get shot up.
Yeah,
but,
probably get destroyed.
But something like that where you could at least tell the angle. Then you could say, okay, well, we set the angle at this, and then so as the ROs reset the stage, you're like, okay, well, this is what it was, and then you could also do something like that with actually the angle of the popper somehow. I don't know,
or maybe like put a board down, like put a piece of plywood or something, and then put the popper on top of that.
Yeah,
that way it doesn't start eroding the dirt, and then it's a larger leveling area.
Yeah,
that might work.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think yes, but I also think that at some point then the plywood will get pushed down too. So I think
it's just
gonna get stretched. Yeah. So anyway, but yeah, no, I mean that was my only complaint. And, we all talked about it as a squad. Yeah. So that kind of stuff.
Like there's things that happen in a match and you can't do anything about it, so you go with it and that's it. It's like shooting in the rain, right? Like people complain about that. They're like, oh, well, I had to shoot in the rain. This squad didn't. It's like, yeah, you're right. But like another match, you're going to not have to shoot in the rain, and they will.
Yeah.
So it is what it is. You have to deal with whatever comes your way.
Yeah. It was like that one dragon when we went, and I shot it all day and you shot it in 2 days, and we shot it and it was completely, I was like 95 degrees or something. It was terrible. It was like shooting in a sauna. Yeah. But then you shot it in 2 days, but then you had the dust storm.
A dust storm. Yeah, an actual dust storm. Like you couldn't see anything. And it was like 30 degrees. Yeah. Like we were all freezing. It was freezing cold.
So anyway, but I think that's the only thing. That was the only thing to complain about. The staff was great. Actually, all the ROs, they were super, never had any issues with them. We did hear that some other folks that were having complaints with the ROs. And there were, and to be fair, there were some mistakes that we did notice post match that, I think that it's not the RO's it wasn't on purpose. You know what I'm saying? It was one of those.
I don't think it ever is on purpose, right?
Yeah.
Like an RO, I don't think is going to go out of their way to like jeopardize a shooter.
Correct. Yeah. No, I mean, and it was a long day. It was hot, right? It's unseasonably hot. And, it's towards the end where the times on the timer versus what got on the pad weren't in sync. And so I think it can be fixed with equipment, right? So another suggestion, I mean, I don't know what their budget is, but like maybe next year you get the timers that actually sync with the pads.
The Bluetooth ones.
The Bluetooth ones, exactly, so that there's no question that, somebody fat-fingered a number. Then it makes it easier for the shooter. It makes it easier for the RO, everybody to know that, hey, there's no shenanigans going on. There's no mistakes happening, at least with the timer, being...
And I like that, too, because like a lot of times whenever you have a timer, an RO might have it right next to the gun, and then like sweep it down and like put it on the side, but like they'll hit their hip or something with it, and it'll trip the time.
Yeah.
Like I remember whenever we took the RO class, Troy was saying like some shooters like to check the timer. He was telling one in particular because they were worried about that, right?
Yeah.
Because that adds like 2 seconds. By the time that they stop the timer and then put it next to their body, it's like 2 seconds or a second at least.
Yeah.
And if you can go back and see like, hey, why is it a second between the last time instead of a 0.2 seconds on my last shot?
Right.
Then you can tell if it was. So if it had the Bluetooth timer, you can see each time. That might pick up better, and they can you can go back and review that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and and actually in the stages we're going to show, Scott was actually concerned that the RO's timer picked up my slide racking. And fortunately the RO was super nice. He went back and looked, and it's like, okay, he checked the split. Didn't seem to be, but that kind of thing happens. It's not like out of the ordinary that it catches the wrong time. Or you could have, a lot of times when you're at a public range, you're shooting a match, but this is more like a level 1, where you've got, bays and you're shooting, and then behind you, somebody's shooting like a 50 cal, right? Mm-hmm. And then of course, that 50 cal is going to get caught by the timer.
Yeah.
And so you just don't know. Hopefully it's in the middle of your stage where it doesn't matter. But if your unload show clear and he goes boom, it's like, adds 2 or 3 seconds to it. So
it's very important. And like sometimes it's like if you shoot a different stage plan than everybody else, because like if you shoot in the same stage plan, like I know about like the difference in time between like me and you or me and somebody else on the squad.
Right.
So you can see like, hey, like why is it this much more, right? Yeah. Or this much less. But if you shoot a different stage plan, you're like, I think this is a lot faster way. I might save a second, but then you come up like a second, like slower. It's like, oh, well, it's not. But then what if you hit the timer? And what if it's actually 2 seconds faster?
Exactly.
Yeah,
could be that.
Yep.
Could be that. So, so anyway, I we could go on about that, but I think, overall great experience with the match. It would be, and I don't know how much those Bluetooth timers cost, but I mean, that's going to be, if you had to buy one for every stage, that's over $1,000. It's probably $2,000 when, all said and done. So that's not an easy thing to do. Mm-hmm. But I think that would make it easier for the ROs, for sure. But, I didn't stick around for awards, so I don't know, but it seems like it was a random prize draw, which is good. That's kind of how, I like it. And they gave out the plaques. And
yeah, they actually had plaques.
Yeah.
Like there's some places that don't do that, and like sometimes I think that plaques don't cost that much, but people like it. They like to bring it home, or like especially if their first one went in, they're like, I want this, to bring back to the house.
Yeah.
So one of the Texas Open did cups, and I told the guy about it. I was like, kind of mentioned, I was like, man, like a cup, not very many people like that. Like they want to like display it somewhere, on a plaque. And he thought that they liked the cups.
Yeah, and you're talking about a drinking cup.
Yeah, like a drinking cup.
Not like a trophy
cup.
Okay. Yeah. I remember when you first brought it back, I was like, oh, this is what you won. Good. Congratulations.
Yeah. Like it's just like a coffee mug, like
that. And then, no, disrespect to them or anything, but it's like, man, it could have at least been like a Yeti or something.
Yeah.
It wasn't
it was like a Walmart brand cup.
Yeah. Oh, come on. We know the Texas Open guys. Like, come on, guys. Come on. At least a Yeti. Yep. At least a Yeti. Yeah. So.
And usually, like, you could find someone in the like shooting the match, or someone in the club that does some type of woodworking, and it has like a laser or something. They could just laser whatever plaques it is.
Yeah.
So, as somebody who has never shot outside of like our little Thursday matches, let's get into like preparation and stuff.
Okay.
So when does it start for you guys? And by preparation, I mean like match specific. I'm not talking about like practice or anything like that. So when does it start? And I know for each person it's going to be different. But like let's just take Arkansas for instance. This is assuming this is like a middle ground. Important match to shooters of your quality. Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
So when does preparation for something like this level 2 match start?
So for like a match like this that happened on a Saturday, usually drive in the Friday, early Friday, and then get to the range that Friday and walk through stages. So there's 10 stages, and in USPSA they allow you to walk through the stages the day before.
Yeah.
So you can actually go and count the targets, look at round count, and have like a stage plan and see, hey, I'm gonna shoot this target from here and all that stuff, and go through that night. So usually it's a day of traveling, and you at least get there half a day left to walk through stages.
Yeah.
Once you go through walkthroughs and everything, you go back to the hotel, you can like clean your gun or go and do some dry fire, and then like go through some of the stages in your head. Some people might have like notes or something, or like have the stage diagram that they printed out on the computer and kind of have an idea of like where they're going to do reloads and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So the stage diagram is accessible to everyone. And then when do you like get access to that?
Usually they'll send out a couple of weeks beforehand.
Okay.
You know, the bigger the match, the more time they give you.
Okay.
And a lot of times, what you'll find out is that most of the time, the stage diagram itself isn't really super helpful. It's not super indicative of anything other than what types of targets there are.
Right. So
and
distances and stuff like that are pretty, like there's no gauge of.
there's no way to tell.
Yeah.
There's no way to
Because that's
tell.
what I'm gonna say is that is there some competitive advantage that somebody like us would have who could see a stage diagram 2 weeks before and set up a stage, you know, because we have access to private ranges?
Not really. You can do like something where you set up the same style of targets, like tuxedos, but you don't really know how far that's going to be until you actually get there. And sometimes they actually might move targets. So they might have like 3 targets on this side of the wall, and you get there and there's only one. And then they move that target over here.
Right. So in that instance, over practicing off a stage plan could probably even handicap you where like, you know, because once the timer goes off, right, you're all muscle memory and whatever you plan for. So if you practice the hell out of a stage diagram, you get to, like you said, a spot where there's supposed to be 3 targets and you were probably planning to, to stop and shoot all 3, where now as you could probably take this one they have on the move, and now you're sitting there and stop, and now you've lost time, right?
Yeah.
So you could almost handicap yourself by over analyzing a stage diagram.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I think you can't read too much into that stuff, right? I mean, because as Brandon was saying, like as soon as you get there, it's gonna look different.
Yeah.
You know, and you may think, and I've seen this happen with a lot of folks, especially if they're newer to level 2s, they'll try to make a whole stage plan beforehand.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm going to take this on the move. I'm going to do this. I'm going to post up and do here. And then it's like, you know, then either the targets are 10 yards further away, you know, and then all those plans go away, or everything's 10 yards closer. And it's like, oh, well, I should have done something completely different, you know?
Yeah, I had that talk with, I think it was Jay last year, like before Swamp Stomp. He was like, had all the stage diagrams and was like planning reloads and like where he would move to and stuff like that. I was like, don't do that right now. Like, because you're going to get there and there might change the start position, or you might say like, hey, I'm going to go left first instead of right. Like I know in the stage diagram, it looks like you might go right, but you'd really want to go left, you know? So it just depends on what it is.
Well, and you have to think about it in the eyes too of like the match director. You know, they get there, they have a plan in their head. It's kind of like what happens at Sentry. People who make the stages, they have a plan in their head, but until you get into the range, you're like, oh, that's not going to work at all. You know, and then so they just have to change it. Sometimes they'll add no shoots, or they'll take them away, or they'll do something, you know. I think the most important thing is just to notice the start positions, right? So, okay, I've got to start facing uprange, gun unloaded. So then you can practice, okay, turn, draw, and load, or something like that. Or it's on a table, you know, or something like that. Or it's like your gun is on one side, your mags are on the other side. So those are the things you can really kind of game and practice beforehand. You
And
know
that
what I mean?
was one thing that they did not have at this match. Like they had no crazy starts.
Yeah.
Everything was either inside the shooting area or right outside the shooting area.
Right.
And gun loaded and holstered. Like I don't like to have too many crazy starts. Like on every stage you have something different to do. But like at least having like 3 out of the 10. Like where it's one of them maybe like gun on table or maybe like seated, gun holstered, or mags on belt or starting up range, like something just a little bit different. You know,
Yeah.
maybe 2 out of the 10 or at the most 3 out of 10. You know,
Yep.
just to change it up.
Yeah, so past that amount that you're talking about, like 3 out of 10, whatever, do you see that like you start to get away from like fundamental skills and start getting more towards like, I don't want to call it gimmicky, but like
That's what I was gonna say.
you're
like
just
gimmicky.
trying to make
Yeah.
it difficult for no reason, right? Like
Yeah.
there's no fundamentals that this is based off of.
Right. Yeah. It's like, and like the GMs of the world, like you're good at every start position, right? Like you have to be. You have to keep practicing all the start positions. But I remember you told me that at the beginning. You know, you're like, yeah, but all GMs are good at everything.
Yeah.
So I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
yeah, you're right. But sometimes, yeah, it's like too gimmicky stuff.
Yeah.
You know, like starting on a barrel or like, you know, laying down this position. Like, what was the area match that was like had all the gimmicky stuff in it?
Oh, that's Area 3. The
3.
old Area 3 used
Yeah.
to be.
The new one they say is better.
Yeah.
Right.
And I've never shot the old Area 3.
did
I've shot the new Area 3 and it was a normal match. But, you know, some of our buddies that are like very high level shooters, they were saying, yeah, like the old way of Area 3 was just, okay, you're starting in a tractor tire.
Yeah.
You know, you're like,
It was like in an airplane. They had airplanes on the match and
yeah,
stuff. And like,
yeah, some
you
weird
ride a
thing.
roller coaster and like shoot stuff down.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Which is fun. Like,
Yeah, it's
okay,
fun.
so it's fun and it's cool, but then like you start to get into like, okay, what am I testing?
And then how many reshoots you have, right? Like,
Yeah.
you have like this fail or, you know, this is dangerous. So they had to throw out the stage and like there's
Yeah.
too much stuff that can go wrong.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking is that like at a certain point, like we're past like testing shooting fundamentals or starting fundamentals and like we're just getting like almost dangerous, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
having people laying down and stuff like, and then you're risking like, and if it's maybe not like technically dangerous, like you're probably risking more
like injuries and stuff.
and disqualifications.
Yeah.
Because you know you're having people start in a position where like they could possibly have a gun fall out of a holster or something like that. you know?
Seated start positions with gun in the holsters, kind of like that.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of RO specific where whenever they stand up and go to draw really fast, like sometimes they'll get close to their leg
Yeah.
and the RO will call them for, you know, sweeping their leg or something.
Yeah.
So that kind of gets gimmicky. But the reason why I like some of them is because IPSC has a lot of that.
Yeah.
Right. Like IPSC has a lot of stuff where it's like gun unloaded on table and you're over here. So you got to run to the gun and do that. So I think that having some of the section matches in USPSA or the area matches and nationals usually has something that's different. But having some of those in even smaller matches like this can help us prepare better for IPSC as time goes on.
Yeah. Well, I think you need to, right? So if you start to think about what the start positions actually are, right? You know, you just talk about the draw, right? Okay. Well, you can stand and draw. You can move to the right and draw. You can move to the left and draw. You can step back into a position and draw. You can step out of a position. You know what I mean? So like, okay, that's 5 stages, 6 stages already, right? Okay, now turn and draw. So facing up range. So then you can do that. And then that's, you know, whatever. And then, so you start to iterate over the different start positions that you could have, you know, and then it's like, okay, start unloaded, you know? And so you start to kind of just think about, okay, here are the real situations that you could have. And I think that if you have a match director who does all gimmicks, then it's like, well, you know, okay, well, your gun's over here in a box and the combination is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And, you know, then your mags are over here and the combination is 7, 8, 9, 10 or whatever. And it's like,
And another thing, I rather them have like a dedicated start position, like X's on, like toes on X's or something. You have to start there.
Right.
The stages that, and I know this might be upset some people, but like the ones that say you can start anywhere in the box,
Yeah.
it gives them more chances to do something different.
Yeah.
Like, so you can have a completely different stage plan than somebody else. And a lot of people like that in USPSA, right? They're like, well, I want to be able to like figure out a way to shoot it for me and have more freedom to shoot it. And yeah, it's kind of good for like seeing where the match is at, but it also doesn't test everybody equally.
Yeah.
Right. True. And so I like to have it, hey, you have to start here and everybody shoots it the same way. So that way everybody really sees like who's better at shooting.
Right.
Right. Because it is a shooting competition. It's not a figure out how to shoot the stage.
Yeah. It's not a escape room.
Exactly. Yeah. That's what it kind of turns into, is like who can figure out the best way to shoot this stage and save time. And it's like, that's part of the game, but like it shouldn't be a big amount of the game.
But
you're very small.
But you should also be playing that in the game where you're all starting from the same position too.
Yeah.
So like there's no need for like you said, where it's like you can start anywhere. Like there's no need for that because the better shooters will find a better way to shoot it, even in the same start position.
Yep. And the downside is like if someone figures it out later and then other people's already shot it and they're like, oh, well, this person saved 2 seconds. Now it's an unfair advantage to the whole field.
Sure.
Because everybody else is going to shoot it that way, but the first 2 squads didn't figure it out.
Right.
So now they're kind of stuck. You know, that's what I don't like about it.
Yeah, sure. I think so. For me, I think it's still all about variety, right? Like I think if you have 2 or 3 stages in a big match that start anywhere, it's like okay, that's fine, you know. But if it's everything start anywhere, I'm with you. It's like it's almost kind of like a cop out because a lot of times, even in those scenarios when it start anywhere, there's really only one start position, right? You know, there's only one place that makes sense to start there, and in that case, it's like, well, why waste your time, walking every single iteration of it to find out that like you spend an hour on a stage walking it the day before and figure out like, oh, everybody started there.
Yeah.
You know?
And I think it's more fair to like the newer shooter, right? Because like if you have, especially like at nationals, like you have a super squad, like they're going to figure out how to do it. And however they is going to do it, that should be the right way.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So and everybody's going to watch them like after they go and shoot it and see how they started. And even if it's the wrong way in shooting it, they're going to be like, oh, well, super squad shot it this way, so I'm going to shoot it that way.
Yeah.
Right. And for the rest of the 3 days, people are going to shoot it that exact way.
True.
But for the newer shooters that are up and coming that might not have figured that out and shot it a different way and got a slower time because of it, it kind of handicaps them for doing it. Yeah.
No, so I kind of more, I don't feel that strongly about it, I guess, other than I think that, on the counterpoint, it's really nice that, when you do have the ability to pick your own way that, and we talked about this on some of the stages and even kind of in the lead up, it's like, towards the end of the day, right, in Arkansas, I had a stage plan for a certain one. And as my fatigue level kind of, increased, I was like, man, I can't do that plan anymore. I need to do something different, right? To be able to maximize my stage. Then it's like, instead of drawing and running to go shoot at this one thing, I'm going to draw to this one and shoot this stuff first and then run around knowing it's the same number of steps, but it's like actually, for success, I need to simplify what I'm doing. So I do like the flexibility in that too, but I get what you're saying. Like and I think that's more on the match director, and this is not on Arkansas, but it's just any match director that said, okay, let's not make a stage where there is like it's the Legend of Zelda and then you bomb one wall and then kaboom, it's like, oh, there's this magic way to do it. It's like, let's make stages where, each option, if you give options, it's equal. And there's no real advantage. And there's no significant advantage to shooting it one way or the other.
Yeah, and that's what I like about IPSC, right? Like IPSC's very much like that. Like because everybody only has 4 minutes to walk the stage.
Correct.
You don't get to plan out anything. So you have like you can't go the day before. Like you were asking us before. You can't go the day before. You can't walk stages. You walk up to the stage to shoot it. You get 4 minutes to look at it, and that's it. So a lot of their stages are very simple. It's like, hey, go to this position, shoot this target. Go to this position, shoot that target. There's no gimmicky stuff. There's no like weird angles or like don't want to say weird angles because there's very positional work.
Right.
But there's nothing like gimmicky in the stages.
Right. So yeah, so you can go walk the stages in a sense, but you have to stay back.
Yeah,
like
you can't go on the stage.
You can't touch the stage.
You can just see them from afar.
Yeah, so you can at least get a judge of distance, but there's no super like you could do that the day of. There's no
you can't
advantage.
see angles and stuff like that.
Yeah. So and IPSC is much more like it tests your on-demand performance.
Exactly.
So
and I like that because it's a shooting ability.
Yeah,
right?
for
It's
sure.
Pure shooting
and
ability.
it's harder. A lot of times the stages are harder. But it's just like, okay, there's a 25-yard target. Can you hit that? Okay. Like boom. And they don't have a lot of times they don't have a lot of setup targets. They don't have like an entry exit type target. It's like you run over there, you shoot the one thing, boom, and you run around. So, it's very much more a shooting test, I think.
Yeah.
So, let's see. Any other questions you have?
I think that's good for like preparation stuff. As far as like day of, like you touched on, like fatigue and stuff like that. So, you guys just shot in Arkansas in, the middle of September, basically. So as, I think you and Eugene had a really good show about, fitness,
Right.
as it pertains to shooting. So, these matches, you talk about like shooting, 10 stages in a day versus having like multi-days, things. So how much, does that actually affect your stage plan? As far as like you shot 10 stages in a day in the middle of September in Arkansas. Mm-hmm. So do you think that you have a physical advantage being fit? The lot of us, I think, are fit. Yeah. Versus somebody that might not care so much about fitness. Do you think that there is an advantage there?
Yeah.
I think the advantage comes in where you have endurance to make it through the match and you don't feel like terrible at the end. You know what I mean? So, because in Arkansas, it was 90s plus, and that you're just in the sun, and you're getting really kind of beat up by the sun, being physically fit, and it just kind of gives you a little bit more in the gas tank to be able to make it through the day and think clearly, right? Because we had some guys on the squad who were just really, they were just having trouble towards the end of the day, and it's fine. That's normal. I mean, we were in the 90s forever, but as far as running around the stages, I think a general fitness level is okay. I think it is more important as you get older, right? Because the one thing I can tell you, like from my standpoint and, from the guys, 40 and above, it's, stretching becomes a thing, right? For sure. You need to stretch. You need to make sure that you don't do anything because you're going to push hard during the stage, which is 15 seconds or so. But, in that time, you're not thinking, oh, I didn't stretch out my calves or whatever. You'll get to the unload and show clear. And then you're like, oh my gosh, what did I do? A lot of that kind of stuff happens. So I think from at least, my age upward, having more general physical fitness will help you not have those injuries.
Sure.
Yep. So,
and I think I think physical fitness is a big part of it at the top levels for sure. Like you say shooting is a lot like golf, and it's kind of very similar, right? Like anybody can play golf and anybody can go shooting matches, right? Like you can be at whatever age, at whatever weight you want to be at, and you can go and have fun. But like at the top level, everybody's working out. Sure. Like it's not just, hey, I'm going to go to the range and shoot. Like you also have physical fitness where everybody's going to lift weights or doing cardio or doing something to stay in shape in order to make it through the day and to have peak performance at every stage, right? Like you might be able to do it in the first or second, but then as you start getting tired, if your shooting ability goes down, then that's not good, right? Like you want to stay physically fit to do it. Sure. I think the hardest part is like taping. Like, because like you're having the gun on you all day, so like you have all that weight on your hips, and then you're like walking down to go tape, come back, you reset targets and stuff like that, and that's like a lot of I see people like go down over the day because of that, like because they're getting up and down, like sitting and going back, and every person they're going walk 20 yards and then walk back, to go tape a target, right?
100%.
So I think that's the hardest part about the shooting thing.
Yeah, and I think, if you think about the amount of energy you spend as a percentage, right?
Yeah.
I'd say 95% of your energy or more is spent resetting the stage.
Yeah, or I'd say like 90, because if you have 10 people in your squad, you only shoot one time,
that's
right?
True.
Like, but you're going to reset the stage every time,
right?
Like that's 90% of it.
At least 90.
Go to that.
Yeah. So John in chat wanted to agree with you that says that 100% stretching is great when you get old. So he wanted to agree with you there. But there's a point too, like you talk about, like you guys you're in Arkansas in the middle of September. So like it seems like a moot point, but the Air Force recently did like a really cool study on how hydration affects mental aptitude. So like shooting a match in the middle of 95 something all day, like believe it or not, like hydration has a huge effect on your mental aptitude. Because what the Air Force found is like their thing had to do with the fact that they actually don't have a good way for fighter pilots to like go to the bathroom on like long extended missions. Yeah. So what they'll do is they dehydrate themselves, so they don't have to use the bathroom during these like long extended trips. But they see mental aptitude and decision making going on a downhill, and it's different with fighter pilots because they actually have people that are like falling out and blacking out during like high G performances because of lack of hydration. But just mental aptitude and decision making, they see like an exponential decrease with an effect as it goes to hydration. So like something that like you guys probably pay attention to is like hydration, but somebody that like would stay up the night before like drinking or something and then go try to shoot one of these matches, like you're not gonna make it.
No.
My Houston buddies.
Yeah, you're not gonna make it. And like you said, you compare us to golf, like we see like the same thing. Like there's maybe not as much like physical walking around and stuff, but like if you have like a summer tournament or something that's like 2 days, and then like there's some of these guys that like go out there and like drink all day during these tournaments, and I'm talking like real like legit like tournaments like for money, not like little fun scrambles. And like dude, there's guys that fall out. Like we had we in August we had our member tournament or the club championship, and we had like 4 guys that went to the hospital like in a golf tournament on a 3-day tournament, and it's like because they were drinking all day and like one of them was like 23. Like, they fell out, and so it's like you gotta take care of your body, man. Like this, it can kill you.
Yeah.
You know? And just from that aspect, but I mean more along the decision making side. Like you don't see it, but your decision making does decline when you start to get dehydrated.
Yeah. And even like sugars and stuff like that, because like you gotta eat throughout the day.
Glucose levels,
glucose
all
levels
goes into hydration.
So it's you have to. It's not just water. Like you have to drink Gatorades or liquid IVs or BioLights or something like that, some type of sodium, and then eating also to make sure that you don't start feeling tired.
Like and eating right.
Yeah, eating right. Like whether it be fruits, whether it be like little granola bars or something like that. Not like a big heavy meal for lunch, but like keep grazing throughout the whole entire day.
Yeah, and you same thing. Like you don't want to go out and like eat like a double cheeseburger and then try to come shoot this match. Like one, you're like extremely full, and then you've eaten like this big greasy meal. Like same thing, like your mindset when you get there is gonna be like, dude, I just want to get out of here. You're not gonna perform at 100%. So that's interesting. It's really
Once again, Houston buddies eating.
Houston buddies, Oh, I'm also guilty. Just
they
putting
would
that out there.
like have a whole pig.
Yeah.
Like the whole pig on rotisserie at the match. Like it's like a big thing.
Yeah.
A cow. They're going to shoot the cow before.
That's right.
So, John said that you guys need cart girls at matches. Problem solved.
Yeah, we definitely need some cart girls. That'd be great.
No, I think the main thing from hydration is that, for anybody who's never shot a level 2 and you're going to shoot anywhere that's not way up north, even if so, you need to be, and this came from Matt Hopkins. He gave me this tip. Get your hydration in line the day before.
Always.
Like you want to get completely saturated with your body. Like, you're peeing way too much. And then the day of the match, you're drinking a bottle of water almost every stage. And you want to be just like, you want to be in this mode where it's like, you shoot the stage, you go to the bathroom. You shoot the stage, go to the so you're in front of it.
Yep. Yeah, the big thing, like the NFL coaches will talk about that. Like if game day comes and like at any point you're thirsty, it's too late.
Yeah.
Like the day before is when you do it, because you saturate your body with sodium and with water. Because I don't know if it was you and I that were talking about this, that like people think that like water solves the problem, and it's like no, like your body will reject us at a certain point because it can't absorb that amount of water. Like it needs electrolytes. It has to have electrolytes to be able to absorb the water.
You told me that whenever I was going to donate blood.
Yeah.
Remember? Because I was like, man,
I drank like 10 bottles of water, and it was like, that doesn't do anything. You have to drink
glucose.
electrolytes. Yeah, you need glucose. Your body needs electrolytes in order to absorb the water into your system.
Yeah.
So it's very important. That's interesting how and it's little things like that like like you guys are professionals at what you do, and it's little things like that people don't realize how important it is, you know?
Yeah. You're right. You can never catch up.
Yeah.
That's a thing. And then, the eating is a weird thing. It's like everybody has their own, right? Like the thing about eating during a match, it's you've got to figure out what works for you. Cause there are some dudes, we joke on my Houston buddies, but dude, they can go out and party.
Yeah.
They can go do the whole thing. They eat all night. They eat all day. They eat the match food, and they're still performing at a high level.
Yep.
And others like me, I can't do that anymore.
I think it's like the same thing with dieting, right? Like some people can lose weight like instantly. Some people like really have to diet a different way,
right.
Or like whether it be fasting, whether it be eating no carbs, whether it be eating a balanced diet of carbs. Like everybody's body type's a little bit different, I think.
Yeah. So cool. What else you got?
That's pretty much it. I mean, it's I think that I think it's interesting because I like the intricacies of things. Mm-hmm. So like I like the mental side, the preparation, and then I like the little intricacies of how like hydration and food and stuff like that, and like how you mentally prepare for a stage affects things. Because I'm that way with like golf is like this. Like I like the little intricacies, and I like people that overthink things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And sometimes that happens, like if people are getting tired and they've been walking through a stage plan over and over again, and then whenever they get to the stage, they find a different way to do it. But they're like, I can't remember that right now because I'm too tired to remember it, right? So I'm just going to go back with my old plan and do it.
Yeah. Well, that's one of the things I started doing last year, 2 years ago. I always come up with a complete stage plan for the first stage and the last stage. And it's like a immovable plan. Because I know in the very beginning of the day, I'm going to feel like super hype, and like I see a bunch of people doing a bunch of things. Oh, I want to do that. Oh, I want to do that. But then when it comes down to it, it's like, no, you are doing one thing, because that is, that'll keep my mind calm. Right. Mm-hmm. And then at the end of the day, I mean, it's more self-explanatory. It's like, dude, when it's, when you've been in 95 degrees and humidity all day and you get to the very last one, you're like, okay, I'm just going to do it. I don't know if it's efficient. I don't know if it's not efficient. And, but this is what it is, and I can execute it, and I don't have to think. You can hit play and just do it, And
there's a stage like that, the L-shaped stage. If you remember that. Like we had different stage plans, and the day before, the person that rode with me asked about the way that you did it, and I was like, no, because like you'd have to go diagonal, and I think it's more steps that way, and like we measured it out. But it's like you had already had that stage plan, and you're like, no, I'm not changing it now, because like it was our second to last stage of the day.
Right.
Like you're like, no way.
No. It was done. It was done.
And I'm definitely not like, I get that way sometimes too. Sometimes there's stages where I've pre-programmed that, and I'm like, I'm not changing it because I can remember this. Like sequencing stages or memory stages where I can't forget how to do it.
Correct.
I just do it that way, even if it's slower.
Yeah. Actually, we can show. You want to see those? Yeah. Let's. Let me see if I know how to do this. So that was stage 8. So I'll show yours first, I think. Here we go.
Yeah, so I went left first, shot those, and my idea was like staying in the box because I can still shoot in the box. And it came straight up.
Did you reload?
Yeah.
Did we need to?
It was like 20, I think it was like 28 rounds right at it. I hold 29 plus 1. I could squeeze it, but I remember one year at Nationals, I got caught by doing that, and I was so worried about making a makeup shot that I completely skipped the target.
Oh, geez.
Because like all that was in my head was like, do not have any makeups, do not have any makeups.
Right.
So now, like if I get to a stage just 28 rounds, I'm just like, I'm gonna reload somewhere, right? Like I'm not chancing it.
Yeah. Can we pause on the reload too? Oh.
And see, I had one makeup
right here. So this is also like dead time too, correct?
Right.
Like you had dead times. Okay. So so there was from the corner of that L to there was really nothing in your stage plan that you were going to shoot in these targets.
No.
Okay. So
no.
Yeah. So you had dead time anyway. So
and the way I did it. So here's mine. I think. Oh, hang on. Start at the beginning. So I went to the middle first. I attacked this guy. And that's where I did my reload in that dead time. So, and for me, I remember the difference was I thought that running across here that I could get up on target faster to attack that back target.
Yep.
And I thought that, I could start shooting quicker if I shot that up and down no shoot here.
Yeah.
So because each of us had to cross this L.
Yeah, twice.
Both ways.
Yeah, both ways. Yep. Yeah, I shot the no shoot that was like right behind that barrel.
On the way.
On the move. Yeah, and I remember telling myself, like, I am not stopping for that target. Like, I got to keep my feet moving the whole time because it was very close.
So, which target is there a target that we can't see?
There's a target
Okay,
behind
I'm
you.
about to say, that's what you took first.
Yeah, watch, because I'll kind of draw.
That's what I was trying to
pause.
figure out, if like you took a target that was downrange, because this was 2 quick shots. I was like, man, if you took a target that was downrange in the middle there.
It was maybe like 3 yards away.
Yeah, got it, Roger.
So there's that one. But I think the first stage of the day, you and I shot the same way, right?
I think so.
Yeah. So this is, I think this is you.
It was a double swinger stage. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I left one of those targets in that last position for the back.
And we both had to track that last swinger.
Yeah. So the swingers came out like they wasn't consistent. Whenever we watched them during the walkthrough, they didn't end up the same way as anybody shot them. Like everybody that shot them was a little bit different.
It was a little bit different.
Yeah. So they were. Sometimes they'll have like IPSC's very good at that, like timing them to where they like come out at a certain time. You shoot this one, then you shoot the other one.
Yeah.
This one stage was not like that.
Yeah. So, and I think you and I shot it exactly the same way.
Yep. Everybody was struggling on those.
Yeah, I didn't go deep enough. I needed to go a step more to get a little bit more presentation on that. There, what you don't see over there on that side, Austin, they're 2 steel.
I think I saw him. I saw him when you went to the right.
Yeah, they're over.
Yeah. So if you restart it, I think I saw him. Right when you go right to that window, I saw him.
Oh, you see them? Yeah,
they're right there.
right there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right there. Those
But you can only shoot them through that window.
Through that window, yeah. Here. Over to your right.
And if you had to get in that one spot, you could see one, then you had to take a side step just like that.
Yeah.
To see the
So
other
you're
one.
saying initially you weren't deep enough to see.
Yeah, well, I think if I would take another step closer, it would have presented a
Both
little
of them?
bit better. Yeah. So.
I did the same thing. I hit the first one and then took a
had
side
to
step,
do
and I had to make up the second shot. It was fast enough, but like I tried to take it on the step,
Yeah.
and it the dot bounced and didn't get on there right.
So there you go. That's the Arkansas match,
That's
man.
the Arkansas
I think
match,
it was fun.
It was fun.
Yeah,
Very
had a
fun.
good time.
Yep.
So Austin, I'm pointing to you now. You need to shoot a match.
I know.
Outdoor. Yeah.
I know. I was there was one of them that's coming up that I was like, man, like 3 months ago, I was like, man, we're definitely gonna do it. But no, definitely as soon as we get everything settled in with manufacturing, we're definitely gonna start doing them because I just enjoy the experience, and like I said, I love like stuff like that, like the little nuances of like especially just watching people work, right? Yeah. Like I could care less like how I shoot. Like it's just like golf. Like if I get paired with like a guy that's like way better than me, like I just enjoy, like I can learn from watching somebody. Sure. So I do like watching like professionals work, you know. Yeah. So definitely is on the game plan, and need to start shooting again.
Yep. We'll do that like another section match that's either in Mississippi or Louisiana or Texas, like something close by, and it'd be fun. And we can have our whole squad get together.
Well, being serious, that Mississippi match in December may be the one. Yeah. It's just in Jackson, so you could go there, shoot, spend a night, and then come back the same day, like the next day, finish shooting and drive home.
Yeah,
be home.
Yeah, and then even just like watching them, like I do plan to come like like some of the higher level ones, like just come watch them because like I said, I just like watching professionals work.
Don't watch. Bring your gun. It's just like when we do the club. You may as well bring your gun.
It's one of those things too, though. It's like I'm one of those people that's like, if I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it 100%. So it's like, God, it's gonna annoy the heck out of me if I can't beat everybody. So like just there to support too, right? Yeah. So, but yeah, definitely need to get back into it for sure.
So very good. All right, gents. Well, thank you. Oh, there is one thing I wanted to mention to everybody before we close this particular stream. You guys notice we're doing the live stream here, trying a bunch of different things. There is something else. I don't know if you guys have heard of Locals. I just started a Locals community, and I don't know exactly what it is, but it's brownduke.locals.com, and it's kind of like Patreon, I guess, but you don't have to pay.
Oh, cool.
Right. So guys and girls, if you're listening, jump on that Locals, because what we're trying to do is we're trying to make sure that we broadcast the shows and all of this stuff in a way that you'll always get it and we won't get censored by certain entities. Right. As you guys all know, we've been having issues with being censored on various social media platforms. We are fortunate that Twitter and Rumble are really good about not censoring. And so we're just trying to find other platforms that'll do that too. So take a look at Locals. I just started it. I don't know anything about it. It will give you a option to donate. Do not donate. I do not have my bank account hooked to that thing. It's whatever you can do that's free, that's what you should do. Right. So, and we'll figure it out and try to, try to interact with everybody that way. So, but I think that's it. Anything else, guys, before we close this one down?
No, we'll be. I think we'll be right back with another one, right?
Yeah, we'll be right back in 10 minutes or so, and we will talk to you guys soon.